Okay, good evening. This is Debbie Davis. It is Saturday, May 11th. And so I just wanted to touch base with a few things here. So the last video I was recording this conversation with the courts that I had here where, several months back I got pulled over for a brake light issue, and then they added on this additional charge, and this has gone on now for months. I got the brake light issue fixed right away, but then they tried to say that I had that I was on the phone on top of it, and I kept, as you heard in my last video, I kept requesting the footage. I requested it right in the first Zoom court date, which was an actual trial, and the state of Minnesota refused to show me the footage. The attorney, the judge refused to show me the footage. She said, "Oh well, I'll have to check with a police officer," and I was like, this is the trial, so you're supposed to show me the footage, because that's the whole reason why I showed up for this court date. This is a court date, and they weren't prepared, so I never saw the footage there. And then I requested the footage from the prosecutor office, and they tried charging me like $40 for the CD. So I was like, I said, I don't have to pay for that. I don't have to pay to see something that you need to provide me for free. So this is called racketeering. This is a charge called racketeering, where they're trying to make money off of nothing. And so if you then out of nowhere they were supposed to continue the they said, the judge told me she was going to just push the court date out several months out, but then I never got anything in the mail as to when this wireless court date was going to be. And then out of nowhere I got a text on a Saturday, and I'm supposed to show up for court on a Monday for this wireless charge. And so I got so I was sitting here ready, and I thought it was a Zoom court date. And then they told me, and they didn't say anything in the text. I never got anything in the mail. And they said, "Oh no, it's an in-person." And so I wasn't, there was no way I could have made it all the way to the court at that point. So they went ahead and proceeded with the court date without me. And the judge and the police officer just went ahead and charged me with a false charge, because that's what they do if you're not present. And so I just got something in the mail, and I have to pay $168 fine now for a false charge that they just made up. This is how Hennepin County works. It's called a kangaroo court, and it's also called racketeering. It's a charge. It's a crime called racketeering. They're just making up charges on people to get money out of us. So, I think we need to get outside help involved in these situations here. And then I just because this Hennepin County is just too corrupt. They're not. They can't be trusted at all. And then the Hennepin County. It's just, we got so many bad people in these positions of power over the like since Obama here. It was never this bad. I mean, it's just like it started in like 2010, and it just got worse and worse. The people in these positions of power in Hennepin County, Minnesota never used to be like this. But and then just this morning, I put a clip up because I was just out walking. And Hennepin County Sheriff just drives right by me, and they've done this to me for years. It's police stalking. They'll either be sitting at a place where they know I walk, so they can just watch me, or they'll actually drive right by me, and it's gone on for years. I've got at least I think 70 some pictures of them stalking me. It's called police stalking. So I mean, we don't really have real. I mean, people have to understand. It's like, I'm not trying to disrespect the police. They have completely caused this upon themselves. Okay, I have got so many pictures of them, and this all started with me as a military whistleblower. I'm also a disabled veteran. So now you're abusing disabled veterans, and I mean, if we could treat the veterans any worse in this country, you might as well just be lining us all up and shooting us in the head, because we're being mistreated that badly. I've been mistreated in so many workplaces, I can't tell you. I say, they have these forms, and you put down, if you're a disabled veteran, but then I'll be put in a situation where it's just like completely abusive or something. And when I was temping, when I was doing some temp work, and I said, I can't tolerate I shouldn't have to tolerate this type of abusive environment. I am a disabled veteran. And then this was a place called Atlas Staffing that I was working in, and they said, oh yeah, well, we just have to, we just have to ask these questions, but it really doesn't mean anything. That's what they told me when I mentioned that some of these places are very abusive that you're sending me to, and these temp jobs. And they're like, well, and I said I did write that I'm a disabled veteran on your hiring form, and she said, well, we just have to ask that by law, but it really doesn't mean anything. So this is how the employers feel about the disabled veterans. This is how we're treated. We're not treated with any kind of special conditions or anything. It's just like we're supposed to just act like we're 100% capable when we have this paperwork right from the federal government saying that we aren't 100% okay. I mean, I'm an 80% disabled veteran. I have 50% PTSD from this whistleblower thing, and also I had 2 deployments. And then I have a couple other injuries. When I was on the border mission in Arizona, I got in a car accident, so I have a hip injury from that. And while I was on active duty, it happened, so it was service connected. And so you don't even, people don't even know. The civilians, they just don't get it. I mean, they just don't get, like, and they don't get how badly we've been treated, since the Obama years and everything. And so this is pretty disgusting. You have police that are terrorizing veterans now. I mean, these are not police to me. These are criminal cops. These are no longer police officers that we have in this country anymore. These are criminal cops. And I don't care if you think that I'm disrespecting you. You completely brought this on by yourself, the police, because this started in Minnesota way back in 2017. There was a couple instances where there was a couple people murdered back then, and then it wasn't just the George Floyd thing. There's multiple situations where people don't trust the police here. So in 2017, there was 2 cases. Obama was hiring a bunch of new type of people in the Minneapolis police. Some of them were Muslim. And, it doesn't really matter the religion. It's just what they did. They did a criminal act. I mean, this one, so in 2017, there was 2 murders that they committed, but the one that I remember was this lady who called in and said that she had seen somebody be assaulted or something. And she was Australian lady married to somebody here from Minnesota. And I guess she came running to the police officer when they came. She was excited or scared or something. And he thought that she said that she thought that she was armed, and he shot her in the stomach and she died. And that was in 2017. And then, of course, we've had the George Floyd thing here, where just openly, they just openly stood on his neck. even though he said he can't breathe. It doesn't, and they're trying to say, like, I mean, I just, that whole thing is such a bizarre mess. I mean, but, to me, if somebody says they're not breathe, and then they try to say, oh, well, he was on fentanyl or whatever. Well, okay, so then take him in. You just cuff him and take him in and get him treated for a drug treatment. And then they never did show, like, the real reason why he was even arrested. Supposedly he gave a fake dollar bill, but I mean, is that really why he was arrested? I mean, it's just, the whole thing is so shady. They're so shady. Like, I mean, you are the criminals. You shady cops are the criminals. We have no idea what you're doing. We have no, there's no trust here anymore with these police here. You are criminal cops. Okay. And I mean, I've tried having conversations with them, like, well, why should I respect your uniform if you never respected my uniform? I was in, probably longer than you've been in the police department. I was in for like almost 15 years in the military, and I mean, their police academy is only like 4 months, and then they get a badge and a gun, and they act like, and I was in, like, I served for like 15 years, in the National Guard. So, I mean, and they were completely disrespectful to me anytime they pulled me over. So, the respect is just completely out the window for me with the police. And so, it's just, I've have my number listed right on my YouTube channels. I have my email listed. People could contact me, and they could feel free to write into me. My email is listed, Debbie@miracule, MIRACULE.com, and my telephone number is even listed under my YouTube channel, or anything. And if people have some discussion that they would like to discuss, I know there's, in some cases, the police hands have been tied because they did put restrictions on what they could do to prosecute people and stuff like that. I know that's some of the cases, but in my case, I was a legitimate military whistleblower. Okay, in 2013. I'm sorry, 2011, and then I've been out of the military since 2013, and the harassment has never ended in all these years, in 12 years now. It's never ended for me. And we have the highest suicide veteran rate in the country, like, by far, from any other country in the whole world, because we are being terrorized. They're terrorizing our veterans. I mean, especially the whistleblowers like me. I mean, I'm on some kind of a list where I get just, pulled over. I get harassed in various different places, and it's not okay because we have such a high veteran suicide rate to begin with. And I mean, all you're doing is proving that you just completely are disrespecting the veterans, and you're part of the problem, the criminal problem here. You're not part of any kind of a solution. You're not, and you're certainly not protecting and serving. All you're doing is harassing, and you're stalking me. I mean, is that what we pay the police for now? Is to harass and stalk innocent veterans? Because that's what's happened to me. For 12 years now, I've been harassed and stalked. I mean, you very rarely nowadays hear about police, doing some heroic things. I mean, of course, we know that they, in some cases, put their lives on the line. I understand that, but there's such there's a lot of bad things that they've been doing, way more bad than it seems good. And so, I just tell it like it is because it's the truth. I mean, now I have to pay this fine, and if I don't pay it, there'll be a warrant. So this is called a racketeering charge, where they just did a dirty deed, behind the scenes, because I wasn't able to show up for court because they didn't give me the right information. Could you get any more dirty, Hennepin County? And in 2013 and 14, the whole reason why I had to move to South Dakota is because they were harassing me literally to death. I got pulled over like 30 some times because I was put on some kind of a Masonic blacklist, because I became an accidental whistleblower at that Arizona base. So, they've already harassed me to death, and they're doing it again. So I just don't have any tolerance for them anymore, and I don't feel sorry for them anymore, because they just don't in my opinion, they brought this along upon themselves by the way they're acting. And it just seems like it's all about control and power. Like, how dare you talk about us? We risk our lives. And I didn't, and I haven't risked my life for this country. I've risked my life as a whistleblower multiple times, and I was deployed twice, and I haven't risked my life. You're not the only ones that risk your life. The veterans risk their lives too, and you don't treat us with any respect. So you don't get our respect back. That's just how it is. You don't retreat. You're not treating the veterans with any respect, so the police will not be treated with any respect until you start treating the military with respect. Okay, that's pretty much how it is. You treat us with zero respect, but you expect respect in return for what? For what? You haven't done anything to earn our respect. Okay, so I just wanted to just put that out there, and then a couple things, other things I want to touch on is, because there's all this these misunderstandings and people don't know what to think about some of the truthers, and people that have had the podcast. There's things coming out now about Scott McKay, that he has this handler, CIA handler, Mickey Khan, and I believe that is true. I think she's from Arizona, and I have been saying this for years, that Arizona was the head of the deep state. That's what I uncovered. I uncovered a crime in Arizona where most of the deep state was, and most of the deep state CIA people are located there, and or based out of there, or a lot of stuff started there, so that doesn't surprise me. I don't know the whole situation, but that's what I'm hearing, and by a couple people, and I, in my opinion, I want to, there's a couple people that I personally don't trust in this truther community, because I haven't had, a good situation with, I haven't felt like they could be trusted for different reasons. Like, I don't trust Juan O'Savin, because I never hear him say Jesus. I've heard him say God, okay, but the Masons will say God, and the little G does not stand for God. When you're a Mason, the little G stands for Gargameth. It's some fallen angel or something. The Masonic symbol, it doesn't stand for, when it says the little G in their Masonic symbol, it doesn't stand for God. It stands for a fallen angel called Gargameth. So I had this discussion with this Vic Ramos, who is an ex state police officer, and we did a video together, which I'm trying to upload, and I'm having a hard time uploading it. But he's the one who, he's been revealing to me that, he was a state police officer for years, and he found out that over 95% of the police are Masons. And, so a lot of them get these jobs because they're Masons. And it's, so a lot of the police that are on the roads are Masons, over 95% of them. And this is straight from the mouths of somebody who used to be a state police officer for 22 years. Okay, so his name is Vic Ramos. He's got a lot of YouTube videos out there himself. And, but I don't trust this Juan O'Savin because he, when I first saw him, he was on the Field McConnell show, first speaking, and I have a video where I talk about my bad experience with Field McConnell, and he has been, he was put in jail by Trump. So I was told by several people, because they know my story in Arizona involved a money scandal and a trafficking scandal going on right through a military base, so I was told that I should be on Field McConnell's show, and Field McConnell was told about me too, and then he reluctantly called me, and it seemed like he didn't want to have me on, but he did reluctantly call me and asked me to be on his show, and then so I get on it. So the day that I tried to get on his show, he wasn't picking up the phone. He was blowing me off, and then I tried calling back, and then I tried calling the lady who was helping run the operations or whatever, and I said I can't get a hold of him, and then she got a hold of him, and then he finally called me back, and then he had me on his show air for maybe 3 minutes, and it was literally an interrogation. It was accusing me. He's like, so did you lose about a lot of money with this whole whistleblower thing? So you need money? Are you trying to get some money then, or something like that? It was super demeaning and derogatory, and it was an abusive interrogation instead of a radio interview. And then he hung up on me on live air. And so, it was the most bizarre interview. And all he did was make himself look bad and totally expose himself, because I'm a legitimate whistleblower. And Trump knew that. And so then after that, my understanding is that they looked into his whole organization, and he was trying to get money for this, this child saving the children type thing, and he was getting a bunch of donations, and none of that was legitimate. None of that turned out to be legitimate, and so he was caught on that. And he was also involved in some kind of a scandal where he was part of blackmailing, Congress people or something. So there was a couple of different things, and he is in jail now, or he has been in jail. Trump put him away, or he was put away for a couple different reasons, I know, and he hasn't been around. And and so the first time I heard of Juan O'Savin, he was on Field McConnell's show. So, and then and so that's one of the reasons why I don't trust him, and also because he talks around the subject so much that I feel like he's trying to hide something. If you have something to say and you don't have anything to hide, then you'll just get right to the point, and he just he talks around the subjects too much, he's trying to be it doesn't, to me it's really, if you're really fighting the deep state, you have way too much time on your hands to tell so many stories, when our country is at the brink of communism here, and you're telling stories, we are in dire straits, and so I don't personally like him at all. I think he's just not. I don't think he's legitimate. I think he's just like a con artist or something. And then the other person that I wanted to mention was this Kim Gogwin. I personally, because I know she's said that she's like the head of all this money, and she shows these charts and everything online, and has this company, and but I was somebody reached out to me from her organization, I think back in 2020, and had sent me these charts and said, this is what we're up to, and this is, we're trying to get the control away from the cabal. Here's how but we it's like super complicated with the money thing. And I was like, wow. It looked very legitimate, of course, the way she draws it out. And obviously she's got some kind of contacts to these elite people that have these real charts, and but then I mentioned something like, okay, well, does your organization have anything for whistleblowers, to help whistleblowers, because I'm being harassed to death, and and terrorized to death here. And then they started being like really rude and demeaning towards me, and they were like, no, they're like, you can't be really harassed that bad. And I said, oh really, would you like me to prove it to you? I mean, I could send you like a million, I could send you like 500 things right now showing you proof of how much I've been harassed since 2011. And instead he didn't even want to hear anything back from me, and then I never heard anything back from her organization after that. She didn't do anything to help me as a whistleblower in any way. And I've also reached out recently because somebody mentioned her again, and I said, look, I think you guys know who I am. You say you have all this money. What about money for allocated for whistleblowers that have risked their lives to try to report crimes? I've risked my life to help. I've laid my life down to report a crime to save millions of other lives. It was that base that I reported this crime was literally like the center of like the money laundering and the weapons laundering that was going on, that was a part of not only this country, but like it caused problems throughout the whole world. And I'm a huge whistleblower. And then once again they wrote me back. This was just probably like a few months back, and she said, no, I'm sorry, we don't have any money allocated for whistleblowers. So she's blown me off twice now, Kim Gogwin. And you have all this money, but you can't do anything at all for whistleblowers, and she's so I just wanted, you can have your own opinion of these people. I'm just telling you my situation I've had with these people, and my opinions that I've had with these people, with my personal situations I've had with them. You're feel free to have your own opinion. I'm just telling you what my situation, my circumstances have been with them. So okay, so anyway, hopefully we can get this all figured out, and the truth prevails. So okay, all right, God bless.